Hello. In the following few minutes, what we'll talk about are best practices in demand generation, specifically 6 steps that are used by best-in-class sales and marketing organizations for attracting and engaging more highly qualified opportunities. Now, because we all spend a great deal of time, effort, money, and other resources pursuing new leads, new business opportunities, it's important for us to look for ways to increase the performance, the efficiency of this performance, in order to drive down the cost of the sale, in order to drive up the likelihood for repeat business and retention, and also for referrals. So setting the right guidelines, taking the right steps in the early processes in order to attract and engage highly qualified opportunities is going to have a trickle-up effect, if you will, on your business. With some very key performance indicators improving. As I mentioned, lower cost per sale, higher average order size, order frequency, retention, etc. Now, this presentation is a summary of a white paper that you can download for free at the URL listed there, or you can always email me at pat@mcgrawmarketing.com, and I'll be more than happy to send you a copy of the white paper. It's free, and it's my privilege to let you have a copy of it and find value in it. Now, the things that we'll be looking at here today is the importance of marketing and sales collaboration, how to better target highly qualified buyers, most like your best customers, how to consistently deliver the right message and offers to the right people at the right time through the right channels, how frequency, focus, and relevancy will drive profits, the importance of test, measure, analyze, modify, and repeat, and how technology is just not the cure for ineffective processes. Now, this is a diagram that shows the actual performance results of best-in-class, average, and less effective sales and marketing organizations. And as you can see with best of class, they're outperforming the other two groups substantially. 98% of them are improving year-over-year lead to sales conversion rates. 98% is improving year-over-year lead to sales revenue. And with the other groups, average, it's in the mid-50s, and for less effective, it's almost flat to no improvement whatsoever. And in order for a business to grow and grow profitably, you've got to be able to set up processes that allow you to continuously improve in order to see better return on your investment and more profitable growth. So the first step is alignment, specifically between the sales and the marketing department. And we've all heard the finger pointing and the screaming that marketing never generates quality leads, and sales is always cherry picking and ignoring good quality leads. Well, in these highly successful marketing and sales organizations, they know how to make these two organizations, the two departments, work together in order to improve performance. And the key is to make sure that they're, in your business, marketing and sales is focused on the same goals and objectives. Now, you might think, well, they are, but with too many businesses, marketing has demand generation goals. We need you to generate leads. And for sales, it's sales revenues based on what sales they can close. And when neither group shares the same definition for what a lead is, the gap between the two groups can be immense, and the problems can be catastrophic for your business. Now, before we jump into any examples, we're going to define some terms on our own so we don't run into the same type of communication problems that sales and marketing departments do. And what we'll do is we'll walk through here in this following table some examples so that we have that same foundation of knowledge as we go forward. Now, what we're seeing here is one organization's criteria for defining each stage of the qualification process relative to the key sales elements of budget definition, authority to buy, need for your solution, and time to make a purchase. Now, this is referred to by many folks as the BANT criteria for budget, authority, need, and time frame. So as we look at this chart, what the group has done here is, for example, starting in the upper right-hand corner, when asked, the inquiry did not have a budget defined yet. The individual themselves was an influencer, not a decision maker. Their need really hadn't been identified clearly yet, so that it wasn't clear if your offerings could solve that need. and the time frame for making a purchase hadn't been identified yet. So with those types of answers, that individual, that business, that potential client would stay in an inquiry. You might call it unqualified lead, you might call it prospect, some people call it lead. That's up to how you set the guidelines, but this is just, again, for example purposes. If we move over to the qualified opportunity on the far left, they have a defined budget and it fits your solution specifications. The person you're talking to has the authority to buy. They have a need that is clearly identified and matches with the solutions you offer. And their time frame to make that purchase is, in this particular instance, in the next 1 to 3 months. So they have met all 4 criteria of the BANT criteria, and they're ready to buy, so that's why they're in that qualified opportunity stage. Those are the people that are sales ready. Those are the people that you want to have put in front of your sales team as quickly as possible. But these other 3 groups here identified as lead, inquiry, and opportunity, they meet some of the criteria, so there is a potential for business, but they're not sales ready right now. So you're sitting in a situation where you want to nurture those types of leads over time in order to better understand their needs, their expectations, and make sure that they meet the criteria, or come to a point where you determine they're an unqualified buyer because they will never have a budget, for example, to meet the solutions that you offer, or the needs are completely different from what anything that you could possibly solve. So that's what your nurturing process would do, and this criteria would give you that framework to clearly define which leads are moving towards sales, which ones are staying in nurturing, and which ones are being disqualified. It's a lot more effective than going by what so many businesses go by, which is the gut of the salesperson. I feel really good about these guys. I think they're going to make a big buy. I think this is going to be a great chance for our company. Okay, do they have a budget? Well, I didn't ask. And that's very common out there. Now, sales typically disqualifies 70% of leads, and 80% of those disqualified leads go on to buy within the next 24 months. Now, I realize that I'm a sales guy bringing this message to you, but it's our fault. We didn't help with the qualifying process. We threw all those quote-unquote leads over into the CRM for sales to work, and they had to, in order to hit their quotas, come up with some process on their own to focus on what they felt were the best opportunities. And they can only fit so much into their bandwidth. I've worked with some companies where every day a sales rep would have several hundred new quote-unquote leads put into their portfolio to manage. And if you looked at the total number over a couple of months, they had several thousand leads that they're responsible for managing. That's humanly impossible. They had to find a way to focus on what they felt were the best opportunities, and they had to ignore the rest of them. And again, that was a marketing problem as well, because we were now assuming that the sales department would somehow miraculously be able to talk to all these people, communicate with all these people, and we've just gone back to generating more and more quote-unquote leads. We're burying them with work that takes away from the primary reason that they were hired, and that's to sell product. So that's why it's important to have a clear definition of what a qualified lead is, so that you're giving the sales team the sales-ready, highly qualified leads. Now, step 2 is preparation. And really what that means is you got to know who your target is, because with a clear understanding of what your business needs to do in order to succeed, the next step is generating the interest and motivating the buyers to respond. The best place to start is with your best customers, and you need to know them better than you know yourself. So getting started, you want to identify your best customers through some type of analysis. I've used recency, frequency, monetary analysis, or RFM analysis, and it's where you're ranking your existing customers based on how recently they purchased from you, how frequently they purchased from you, and how much total money they have spent on your products and services. You do it for a certain time frame, let's say a year, and you would rank them on these criteria and give them a point total. And then those in the top quadrant are your best customers. And at that point, what you're going to want to do is add more data to their profiles so that you can get a more robust feel for it. If it's a consumer audience that you're going after, you want demographics, psychographics, behavioral analysis, geographic information, so that you can identify segments and buyer personas for better targeting as you move forward. That's your PRISM clusters and things of that nature. With businesses, you want to add firmographic data. What industry, how many employees, how much revenue, how many years have they been, what's their credit history, whatever the key metrics are for you, you want to be able to get that data in for these best customers so that you can identify segments within it. And then you're going to want to go out and do some research in order to fill in the blanks, to talk to the individuals and get their personal observations and commentary and input into how you create that buyer persona, that segmentation analysis that you need to do. Now, buyer personas are incredibly important tools. These are just some cut and paste examples of within one business what they had found out, that their primary audience was what they refer to as John, who's a 35 to 45-year-old male who works in specific industries with companies in certain annual revenue ranges, has very unique needs, wants, perceptions, and expectations from the companies that he works with, has specific values and concerns, objections to certain solutions, and preferences for certain solutions. You also identify where they hang out in terms of what professional organizations, what social media, where they go to get information in order to make informed buying decisions. You want to know what their buying process is. You want to know what their goals are. Are they into cutting the budget and putting more money to the bottom line? Are they into spending a little bit more in order to increase productivity and performance? You need to understand everything you can about what that segment is like. And John just happens to be a general title for those people who fall in that group. And these are some other examples of some other buyer profiles that also have popped up for some companies. And again, they would have different company sizes and industries and ages and values and concerns. But what this does is it helps you identify the needs and the wants and the expectations and the processes, where to pick your what messages you need to create for them, what would resonate with them, what would be valuable for them, and then what channels you want to put that message out there. Some of these people are going to be more prone to online channels than offline channels. Some of them are going to have specific online channels that they're interested in. Some are going to have none that they're interested in. You need to know that before you start pushing out messages with the intent of reaching those people, and only to find out that they fail because they're not there and it's not where they want to get the information. The other important thing in you've got your messages, you've got your offers, you've got your channel selection, but also you need to understand where they are in their buying process. Now, there's several different names for each of the stages. Problem identification is the beginning or pre-need. Then the buyer will go out for information search, where they identify options and opportunity and what's available to them. Then the evaluation of alternatives, where also some people refer to this as search and evaluate phase. Then they select or decide and purchase a solution. And then finally, after the solution, you've got that post-decision where they reevaluate. They have a little buyer's remorse. They wonder if they made the right decision or if there were better things out there. Depending on how the whole process was handled, if they were given the wrong solution, that's where they're going to have a great deal of second guessing and begin to wonder if they should go in a different direction and just not buy from you ever again. As I mentioned earlier, your buyers, the customer, live in both the online and the offline world. And right now there's a great focus on inbound marketing, social media, content marketing. You need to understand where your buyers are going and getting the information. Some of them may be doing it at conferences and events or phone calls to friends and key influencers. Some may prefer having hard copies of things mailed to them. But the bottom line is, at the center of all this is you want a core message that's consistently delivered at the appropriate time, at the appropriate stage, through the appropriate channels. Now, if this were to be a diagram here on the page that was drawn based on the findings of the buyer persona, some of these circles like direct mail or website or social media or online advertising or telemarketing might be larger or smaller because they prefer those channels more or less than the other ones. The fifth step in the best-in-class firms is this process for qualifying and routing and nurturing prospects as they come in the door. As I mentioned earlier, you can really bury your sales team if you don't have a process for quickly scoring, qualifying, prioritizing, and then routing to the sales team those sales-ready leads and putting into the appropriate nurturing process those qualified leads that aren't ready to buy right now. The sixth step of best-in-class sales and marketing firms is the constant search for improvement. And as I mentioned earlier, they test everything, they measure everything, they analyze those results, and then based on the analysis, they modify and retest again. That comes from my direct marketing and database marketing background, where you were constantly testing different messages, offers, package formats, creatives, creative presentations, A/B testing. Those are important things that need to be part of your marketing and sales process in order to find out how you can push the needle with the same resources even higher. Now, a word about technology. For a long time, lots of firms have turned to technology as the silver bullet, as the solution. You've looked at CRM, you've looked at marketing automation, you've looked at email marketing. The bottom line is you need to have solid processes in place and then use technology to add strength to those weak links in your processes. That means that you've got a need that technology, a specific need that technology can be evaluated and selected on specific criteria. We need it to do A, B, and C because our process works, but this link here is weak, and that's why we need the technology. If you buy the technology, as I'm sure some of you have experienced, in order to overcome the lack of effective processes, your chances for recouping your investment in the technology are very, very low. I've gone through with some companies evaluations of technology, CRMs, and marketing automation software, and unfortunately, without the processes there, they spent an awful lot of money. They thought they were getting into certain situations where the budget to acquire the technology was X, but upon acquiring that technology and then having to go through round after round of modifications, they've increased their expenses 3 to 4 to 5 times, and still not really made any progress in going down the road for where they were going to start recouping the investment that they made into the technology. So those are the 6 steps within demand generation best practices that firms use. Again, this was a brief summary of a more detailed white paper that is available for free, and you can download it at the URL shown there, or feel free to email me and I'll be happy to send you a copy. And for those of you who are wondering who this is, my name is Pat McGraw. For the last 20-odd years, I've been working with growth-oriented businesses, helping them develop and improve sales and marketing performance in order to attract and retain more profitable clients. I've worked in a number of industries for small, medium, and large corporations, both client and agency side. And what I bring to the table is best practice experience from multiple corners and a very practical outlook on how to leverage your firm's unique strengths and available resources in order to improve performance and see marked improvement in areas such as lower cost per sale, higher retention rates, higher average order sales, more referrals, things of that nature. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about me, Feel free to check me out on LinkedIn. Visit my website at McGrawMarketing.com, and you can always call me at 410-977-7355. Hope this was of help to you. Please feel free to get your hands on the white paper and learn a little bit more. And as I said, if I can ever answer any questions, please reach out and give me a holler.